All right, my fellow American, about COVID-19 again. Uh, I was a few points I want to say today. This may be report, I don't know, 14 or so, but doesn't matter. But that's just about 2 weeks ago. I was so scared of the decision President was going to make. Expecting people to go back to work with this case that we have not, defeat the virus. Virus was just staging itself. It was on exponential lift, and yet we were talking about no economy. Too premature. I was scared. I didn't like it, and I found refuge always place like this in nature, as always I do, and back to my philosophy and the fight of individual level, as depending my life and personal life and people I love and the country itself as a whole to some individuals not expert on the work. So fortunately today or yesterday, 2 days ago also, I was mad with the situation in New York. I wasn't happy how they handling as far as the decisiveness is not there. I complain about that. I put it, I have no view, that's fine, but I put in for the record. Now, thanks God, Dr. Fauci, Antony Fauci and his team managed to convince the president to back off from that economic point of view. You won't have economy nor health if you have your workers and health system crash. We were heading to disaster as it was. New York, where we're lightly approached as far as, we didn't have enough test cases to isolate that. The more now we're getting better, I'm not denying that. People are fighting to have that. Testing rather than waiting a week. You can have it in 15-20 minutes, but it's not really there yet. Maybe we are 60% of the capacity. I'm not even sure on that of the testing, because the goal is to test and isolate the damn virus. That's it. Social distancing is a must and has to be enforced, throughout the country actually. And when I say throughout the country, of course, you have an area that you want to meditate, mitigate the risks, right? The peaks, the mostly metropolitan cities and the potential ones, Boston, fortunately, not yet in the scope, because I think an educated and liberal resident of the state, I think that helps. I think they observe the social. They're in overall, I think, as opposed to this population, I think going to be very progressive. But don't get my words on that. We see history going to prove that. But New York, being in the epicenter of it, I'm not surprised because of the international flights coming from China and Europe. And even though the president did a very right thing to cut those flights early on, otherwise we would have been in way more worse shape. But also he was light on the European. He didn't follow his goal totally, and then we had this case in New York. Now, same thing as far as New York passing the same problem that New York is China of 2 to 3 months ago. So we have to treat it, New York and Detroit and any other epicenter, very serious about it and mitigate the risk. Cut down all the travels. Anybody want to leave the city, hey, you paid the price for it, not just paying with your car you leave and expenses, all of that. You have other places to go, but you have to also pay for the test, because we asked you to stay home. You don't want to stay home, you cannot stand home, you cannot stay in your apartment. Yeah, pay the price and go. You got the money, pay for it. That's how we deal it. Money always work in America. Everything is on money, right? So make them pay for it. So discourage them, make the price high. People live in New York, going to Rhode Island, probably come to Western Massachusetts, I don't know where, but these are wrong, totally wrong. Now, I'm not sure how much they're enforcing that. I was crying for that. I've heard they put more restriction as of yesterday or so, but I don't think it's decisive enough. I'd like to see military involved. Just how I know that, I just look at what Chinese did. Almost like premeditated. Almost they had already designed. Almost you look at their behavior. What happened? People got that, but they just quarantine the whole 60 million people area of the country, and they go house to house. So they as if they knew, they had, is in their DNA, they had experience in the past, they knew what it could be, and we were at the same time wasting time, not preparing. These are lessons. Hopefully in the future we make out of it. Now the main point I have here is testing, and isolating the virus. You don't want to deal with many cycles everywhere, and then it won't be. I'm very happy that at least economy went in the back, and the science and medicine and people with the wisdom, someone like Bill Gates ideas come into the play. But we also, as a citizen, as a people, every individual has to observe it, take it very hard and serious. This is a war, total war. Okay, if you don't see that way, we have to see so many deaths in New York City Hospital to change our minds, I guess. But whatever it is a war. So as long as we see that way, every individual, we have a responsibility to take care of our, as long as you don't get sick, you have done your national duty. You have the human duty not to get sick, not to get into trouble, not to take it light. Plan it. Don't do grocery stores that often. Do it. Eat less. Exercise. Work on your immunization. Use your time now to reflect back on things and give the chance to the system to collect itself. So that's all the message I had. If you look at my history, I was seeing these things. I was saying it could hit us easily 1.5 million people deaths right on our hand. And this is great. This damage is greater than any war we ever had in this country or world. So this is a serious threat. There won't be an economy unless you have really defeated this. Victory is when you have defeated this virus. I don't see it unless we all work together. This is just not the government. Is every individual, everyone has to involve and do their share. And just by keep the hygiene, keep social distancing, let's be greedy about mortgages and rent and people. That's what it takes, until people in the economy come back. I understand that people should they're due with forgiveness and whatnot, and depend on the economy. This is all we can manage on later. But now just focus on one thing, and that's coronavirus. All the best. Just I pray. I was very worried 2 weeks ago. I cried here because I wasn't happy what president was going to do, and now the step back and he listened to some wise people. I'm happy about that. But I'm now, the time that people sacrifice to stay home for a month, hopefully the system itself also start doing, we have more testing and more testing and isolating the damn virus. That's how we're gonna do it. We all gonna be okay, but we have to do our job as well as individual. I always believe individual over the collective, and that goes back to Nietzsche. Read Nietzsche, because that's the man that helped me to think clean and to help me through this and to predicate. What Nietzsche helped you to even see what economy impact of things gonna happen. Nietzsche helps you to be strong. Of his idea. Just means just respect your enemy and challenge and take it as opportunity. That's kind of mindset I'm talking about. All the best.